Have you ever wondered why certain people and painful experiences stay with you long after they've passed? Why do certain memories linger, even when you've tried to forget? If you've ever struggled with letting go of a relationship that left deep emotional scars, this video is for you. In this video, we're going to dive into the psychology of why it's so difficult to forget someone who has hurt us, and more importantly, how we can finally break free from their emotional grip. We'll explore powerful insights from Carl Jung, who believed that unresolved pain doesn't just fade with time, it stays hidden in our unconscious, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and even our future relationships. You'll learn how to confront your emotional shadows and discover the deeper meaning behind your pain. This isn't just about forgetting, it's about transforming that pain into wisdom and strength. By watching this video, you'll gain practical tools to identify the hidden patterns keeping you stuck and how to release the emotional burdens weighing you down. By the end, you'll be empowered to rewrite your narrative and step into a life filled with more peace, authenticity, and emotional freedom. So stick around, because this could be the turning point in your healing journey. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Picture this. You're lying in bed, surrounded by the stillness of the night. The world outside is peaceful, the quietness almost comforting. Yet, despite this serene exterior, your mind races relentlessly, refusing to let go of the thoughts swirling within. The memories of that relationship come flooding back, as if they've been stored in your heart and mind, waiting for the perfect moment to resurface. The laughter you once shared, the tender moments that felt so real, and the deep pain of those final words left unspoken, everything rushes back with overwhelming clarity. It's as though the past is alive again, as if it all just happened yesterday. You might find yourself asking, why couldn't things have been different? Why couldn't I have done something to prevent this? What did I miss? How did I let someone get so close, so deep into my heart, only to hurt me so badly? These thoughts, this endless cycle, aren't just coincidental. No, they are a reflection of something far more profound, something deeply buried within you, something unresolved that is crying out to be understood. This emotional tug of war you're battling is not something you're facing alone. So many people have walked this painful road, relationships that, instead of bringing joy, have left deep emotional scars. And yet, despite what society often tells us that time heals all wounds, the truth is far more complicated. Time doesn't heal wounds. It simply allows them to sit in the background, still festering, hidden but not gone. We believe that the passage of time will soften the sharp edges of our pain, but time alone cannot heal what is still living inside us. A wound that's been ignored or left untreated doesn't vanish. It stays lingering beneath the surface, quietly shaping our emotions, decisions, and actions in ways we don't even recognize. Carl Jung's teachings remind us of a fundamental truth. What we fail to process consciously doesn't just disappear, it hides away in our unconscious, in what he calls the shadow. This shadow holds all of the things we avoid: our fears, our repressed emotions, and unresolved trauma, and it continues to influence us quietly and powerfully from the depths of our psyche. The unconscious mind, despite being hidden from our direct awareness, does not forget. Everything we've neglected, everything we haven't fully faced or processed, gets stored in this mysterious space. But the shadow doesn't just stay locked away. Oh no, it finds ways to leak into our everyday lives, impacting us in subtle, sometimes unsettling ways. This is why, despite your conscious desire to forget that person and move on, there's an internal resistance. Something within you fights to hold on, to keep that emotional connection alive, even when you think you've let it go. The shared experiences, the love, the pain, the betrayal continue to echo inside, reverberating through your thoughts. even though you wish they would fade. At the core of Jungian psychology lies a crucial concept to understanding this: the shadow self. The shadow is that hidden, darker part of us that we so desperately try to ignore or suppress. It contains all the emotions, memories, and desires we find too painful and too difficult to confront head-on. When we experience a painful relationship, one that leaves us feeling abandoned, betrayed, or unworthy, those emotions don't simply disappear. Instead, they are often shoved into the shadow, never truly dealt with, and left to simmer beneath the surface. But here's the thing: the shadow never stays quiet. No, it works in the background, influencing us in subtle but profound ways. It manifests through intrusive thoughts, recurring memories, and patterns of behavior that keep us locked in cycles of pain. And for some of us, this means repeating the same destructive relationship patterns over and over again. It's not just a coincidence that we find ourselves drawn to toxic relationships again and again. It's the unconscious mind doing what it does best, recreating past wounds in an attempt to resolve them, pushing us back into situations that mirror what we have not yet healed. Carl Jung argued that the shadow is the part of us we reject, the parts of our personality, our fears, insecurities, and unhealed wounds that we push away because we feel they are too uncomfortable to face. These aspects of ourselves become buried deep within our unconscious, hidden from our awareness because they feel too painful to confront. Yet, the shadow doesn't simply go away. It finds ways to make itself known, especially in relationships that are intense or emotionally charged. Jung also suggested that what we reject in ourselves tends to get projected onto others. In other words, when we feel hurt or betrayed by someone, it's often not just about what they did or said. The real pain is often rooted in what they inadvertently reveal about us, those parts of ourselves we haven't yet acknowledged, those truths we are still running from. So much of our pain in relationships doesn't come from the other person. It comes from the reflections of our own unresolved emotions staring back at us, forcing us to face the parts of ourselves we've been avoiding. This isn't easy, but it is through facing these hidden, painful parts of ourselves that we can truly begin to heal and move forward. It's time to confront the shadow, to understand what it's telling us, and to take control of our healing journey. Only then will we break free from the chains of the past and truly find peace. Imagine for a moment that the person who hurt you was not just an individual who inflicted pain, but a mirror reflecting something deep within yourself that you've long avoided. Perhaps their actions triggered your most primal fear, your fear of abandonment. In their rejection, they exposed a desperate need for companionship and validation that you have kept hidden for so long, even from yourself. Or maybe their hurtful behavior didn't just wound you in the present, but reopened an old emotional scar, one that has been festering since childhood, a wound that never fully healed, one you've carried for years but never dared to address. The shadow within us acts like a mirror. It reflects those aspects of our psyche, the parts we hide away, repress, and avoid confronting. When someone unknowingly triggers this shadow, the intensity can be overwhelming. It's like we are being forced to confront a version of ourselves that we don't want to see, a part of us we fear acknowledging because it feels too raw, too painful, or simply too difficult to accept. This is why letting go of pain becomes so incredibly difficult. The suffering is never just about the other person, even if they were the one who caused it. No, the pain is deeply tied to what they have unearthed within us, the parts we have yet to face. So I ask you, have you ever stopped to wonder what that relationship truly revealed about you? What part of yourself have you yet to accept or heal? It's not an easy question, I know, but it's the first step toward genuine healing, the kind of healing that doesn't just mask the pain, but transforms it. Carl Jung famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life." and you will call it fate. What he meant is that as long as we avoid confronting the emotions, wounds, and projections that arise from our relationships, we will remain trapped in repetitive, painful cycles. But here's the glimmer of hope once we bring our shadow into the light. Once we dare to confront those buried wounds, not only can we release the pain, but we can also learn from it. That's the true power of self-awareness. But this brings up an even deeper question. Why do we find ourselves repeating the same painful stories in our relationships over and over again? Why do we attract the same kinds of toxic dynamics even when we desperately want to break free? Jung offers a fascinating answer. Our psyches are shaped by archetypes, universal patterns that reside deep within our collective unconscious. These archetypes act like invisible guides, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and most significantly, the way we navigate our relationships. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. In harmful or toxic relationships, certain archetypes begin to emerge. One of the most common is the savior, someone who feels an overwhelming need to rescue or fix others. At first glance, this role might appear noble or selfless, but beneath that surface lies a deep insecurity, the need to feel needed to validate their existence, to prove their worth. On the other side of this dynamic, we find the victim, someone who identifies with suffering, feeling powerless and dependent on others for their sense of well-being. This victim archetype naturally attracts the savior, and together they form a toxic, codependent relationship built on mutual neediness. But this dynamic can't last forever. Over time, it becomes unsustainable, and lurking in the shadows of this relationship is another archetype, the villain. This figure emerges when unhealed wounds manifest as aggression, control, or manipulation. Often, those who step into the villain's role have been deeply wounded themselves, and they perpetuate cycles of pain as a defense mechanism, a way to protect themselves from further harm. What's crucial to understand is that these archetypes don't exist in isolation. They interact, fuel each other, and create complex emotional patterns. For example, a person who identifies as the savior may initially feel fulfilled by helping the victim, but as time passes, they may begin to feel drained, unappreciated, and taken advantage of. That resentment, that quiet frustration, can eventually transform them into villains in the eyes of the victim, sparking a toxic cycle of blame, hurt, and disillusionment. And so the cycle continues until we recognize the role our shadow is playing in shaping these relationships, and until we take the conscious step to stop the pattern from repeating. Understanding these hidden forces within us is the key to breaking free. This destructive loop is far more common than we may realize, yet the real question remains, why do we keep falling into these patterns time and time again? Carl Jung offered us a profound explanation. He believed that, consciously or unconsciously, we are drawn to people who reflect our deepest wounds or the emotional patterns we've inherited from our families. If, for instance, you experienced rejection during childhood, you may find yourself continually attracted to emotionally distant individuals as an adult. This isn't some random coincidence. It's as if your psyche is trying to recreate the original scenario where you were hurt, hoping that by revisiting it, you'll find a way to heal that old wound. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a person who grew up feeling as though they had to earn their parents' love, constantly striving, hoping, and wishing for affection that was never freely given. As an adult, this person might be unconsciously drawn to a romantic partner who is emotionally cold or indifferent, believing that if they can just win that person's affection, they will finally heal that deep childhood wound. But instead of finding comfort, what happens? They fall into an endless cycle of rejection and despair, unintentionally recreating the very pain they've spent their life trying to escape. It's an exhausting, heartbreaking pattern, that only reinforces the very feelings of worthlessness and abandonment. They're trying to outrun. The key to breaking free from these painful cycles lies in making the unconscious conscious. Jung famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." What this means is that as long as we fail to bring awareness to the unconscious forces that shape our relationships, we will continue to repeat the same painful patterns, believing them to be inevitable rather than understanding them as choices we can change. One of the most empowering ways to free ourselves from these patterns is by identifying the archetypes that influence our relationships. Archetypes are universal, deep-seated patterns of behavior and emotion that reside within our psyche. Are you playing the role of the savior, always trying to fix, rescue, or heal others? Or perhaps you see yourself as the victim, constantly feeling powerless in your relationships, never fully able to step into your strength. Maybe you even identify with the villain, pushing people away before they can hurt you, afraid of vulnerability and emotional connection. These roles, though familiar, are not who you truly are. They are just masks we wear to navigate the complexities of our emotional lives. But when we step into awareness, we can begin to let go of these limiting archetypes and take back control of our emotional journeys. Take a moment and reflect deeply. What roles have you unconsciously played in your past relationships? What patterns seem to repeat themselves, no matter how hard you try to break free? It's essential to pause and truly consider these questions, because answering them is the first step toward unraveling the hidden forces that have been shaping your life in ways you might not even fully understand. By bringing these patterns into the light of your awareness, you start the courageous journey of breaking free from the cycle of pain, self-doubt, and heartache that may have followed you for far too long. At the end of the day, understanding your archetypes, the deep psychological patterns that influence your behaviors, does not just free you from toxic relationships. It opens the door to building healthier, more authentic connections that are rooted in self-awareness, compassion, and a genuine understanding of who you are and what you truly deserve. Forgiveness, as we often think of it, is not about simply letting time pass. It's not about waiting for the pain to subside. No, true forgiveness is an internal transformation that happens when we choose to confront our shadows, not avoid them. Jung teaches us that our shadows, the hidden parts of our psyche that hold our repressed emotions, fears, and wounds, are often the places we most need to look. But how do we face these parts of ourselves? How do we heal from the painful relationships that still haunt us? The answer lies in actively engaging with our shadow, stepping into the uncomfortable, and turning our pain into a tool for growth. The first step in this process is to recognize the emotions that the person from your past still triggers in you. Take a moment to reflect. When you think about them, what do you feel? Is it anger, sadness, guilt, or perhaps a confusing mix of emotions that flood you all at once? Instead of ignoring or suppressing these feelings, allow yourself to fully acknowledge them. Let them come to the surface so you can face them head-on. One effective way to do this is by journaling or finding a quiet space where you can sit in deep reflection. Ask yourself, where is this feeling coming from? What part of my past, my insecurities, or my unmet expectations is being reflected in these emotions? For instance, if you feel anger, it might not just be directed at the other person, it might also be directed at yourself for allowing certain things to unfold the way they did. If you feel guilt, perhaps it's tied to a deep fear of not being good enough or not deserving love. These emotions are not random. They are valuable windows into your shadow, revealing the underlying wounds that you have yet to heal. By observing them without judgment, you begin the first step in dissolving their power over you. It's through this process of awareness that we can release the hold these emotions have on us. A powerful exercise to begin this process is to visualize the person standing in front of you, not as an enemy, but as a mirror. Ask yourself, What is this relationship revealing about me? What aspects of myself do I need to accept, heal, or transform to truly let go of this pain? I won't lie to you, this exercise can feel uncomfortable, maybe even deeply painful at first. But it is also the most transformative thing you can do for your emotional well-being. Jung believed that every painful experience has the potential to teach us something profound about ourselves, something that, once learned, can propel us into emotional freedom. The relationships that leave the deepest marks on us, whether through love or suffering, are the very opportunities we need to uncover hidden patterns that are begging to be healed. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" shift your mindset and ask, "What can I learn from this? What is this experience trying to teach me about myself?" This shift in perspective opens up the possibility of true healing, where you not only understand the role you played, but also gain the wisdom needed to move forward with strength and clarity. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. The pain, the rejection, the betrayal, they can all become stepping stones for your personal growth if you are willing to face them head-on. Each experience, no matter how painful, holds within it the seed of transformation. And in embracing that transformation, you reclaim the power to heal and evolve into the person you are meant to be. For instance, imagine if a relationship left you feeling invisible or unappreciated. That overwhelming sense of being unnoticed or unloved might be a sign from your soul that it's time to work on your self-worth and establish stronger, healthier boundaries. If, on the other hand, that relationship made you feel emotionally dependent, it might be a call for you to develop your autonomy, reclaim your independence, and strengthen your sense of self. These painful experiences are not just random acts of suffering, they are invitations to grow. By reframing pain as a lesson, you shift your perspective from feeling like a helpless victim of your circumstances to becoming the creator of your healing. You start to see that the power to change, to heal, and to rise above your past has always been within you. In the end, to truly forget is not about erasing the past or pretending it never happened. No, forgetting is about reconnecting with yourself in a way that makes the past lose its grip on you. It is about embracing the full spectrum of who you are, both the light and the shadow. Carl Jung described this process as individuation, the journey toward emotional awareness, and the integration of every part of our psyche, including the parts we try to ignore or suppress. Individuation is a path of profound self-discovery, where we come to understand and accept the totality of our being, not just the parts we want to show to the world. This journey demands courage. It's not a one-time quick fix, but rather a gradual unfolding, a slow process of peeling back the layers of conditioning, fear, and self-doubt that have been imposed upon us. Every small step, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is a powerful leap toward embracing your authentic self. Start by carving out time for self-reflection, by exploring the passions that make you feel alive, and by nurturing the parts of your life that have been neglected in the rush of daily distractions. Engage in practices that nourish your soul, whether it's meditation, painting, writing, or simply taking a walk in nature. These acts are more than just temporary distractions. They are the foundations of a healing process that can transform your entire life. And through these moments of quiet introspection, you'll come to realize something life-changing. Peace does not come from external validation or circumstances. It emerges from within. As Jung so wisely stated, "He who looks outside dreams, but he who looks inside awakens." This is your moment of awakening. By turning inward, you stop searching for answers outside of yourself, and instead, you rediscover the strength, wisdom, and resilience that have always been within you, waiting for your acknowledgement. So I ask you, what are you willing to do to embark on this journey toward your true self? What are you ready to face and transform? Because forgetting is not an end, it is a beginning. It marks the start of a path toward a fuller, more authentic life. A life where you are the center of your own story, not the wounds of your past. To rewrite the past doesn't mean to change what happened. Instead, it means to transform how we interpret it and how we allow it to shape us moving forward. The power to heal, to break free, and to transform lies within your hands. It's time to take that first step. The power that a painful experience holds over us is often not found in the events themselves, but in the story we've woven around them. The narratives we replay in our minds, where pain, guilt, or frustration dominate the scene, can become emotional prisons, trapping us in suffering long after the events have passed. These stories, if left unchecked, can define who we are and what we believe we deserve, holding us hostage to the past. But here's the truth, a truth that's hard to hear but crucial to our healing. You are not your past. You are not the sum of your wounds, your mistakes, or your regrets. You are so much more than the painful chapters that have tried to define you. You have the incredible power to reshape your story. You can extract wisdom from your struggles, reclaim your narrative, and build a life that's centered around strength, resilience, and hope. The moment you choose to reinterpret your past through a lens of strength, rather than victimhood, you reclaim your power. You become the architect of your transformation, shifting from a passive participant in your life to an active creator of your destiny. So I ask you, what will you choose? Will you continue to be defined by the echoes of yesterday, those heavy chains of pain and regret? Or will you step into the power of your healing, transforming your past into a powerful foundation for growth? Carl Jung invites us to take a bold step to transform our narrative into a bridge towards self-discovery, self-love, and emotional freedom. Think of your past as if it were a book. For so long, you have been rereading the same chapter, one that is stained with wounds, regrets, and reproaches. But that chapter is not the whole story. It is merely one part of the book you are still writing. Your story isn't finished yet, and the best is still ahead. So, what would happen if you chose to take the pen into your own hands and continue writing from a new perspective? Instead of focusing on what you lost or the pain you endured, you could choose to shift your focus to what you've learned. You could center on the strength you've uncovered within yourself as you faced hardship and how you've grown wiser through adversity. That's where true healing begins, not in erasing the past, but in changing the way we relate to it. One of the most powerful exercises in this journey of transformation is visualization. Close your eyes and picture that person who hurt you standing in front of you. But this time, don't see them as an enemy or as someone who still has the power to cause you pain. Instead, imagine them as a fading image, a figure whose presence is slowly losing its intensity, dissolving like a cloud disappearing into the sky. As their image fades, you are left with the space to create something new. Now, in that space, plant a seed. That seed symbolizes your future, the promise of growth, the opportunity to flourish beyond what you've lived through. Watch as that seed takes root, begins to sprout, and grows into a strong, vibrant tree full of life. Every day, that tree stands as a testament to your ability to move forward, rise above your past, and become wiser, more resilient, and more grounded in your truth. Rewriting your narrative does not mean diminishing the pain you have endured. It means redefining its significance. Instead of allowing that chapter to define your entire existence, you can choose to see it as the moment that ignited your transformation. That relationship, that experience, that pain, it can be the catalyst that pushes you towards self-discovery, self-empowerment, and inner peace. Perhaps that relationship taught you important lessons about your boundaries, about what you truly deserve, or about your extraordinary capacity to endure and overcome hardship. When you reframe your past in this way, the weight of it begins to lessen. That experience, instead of being an open wound, transforms into a scar, a mark of resilience, a story of strength and survival. To forget then is not to erase what happened, but to release the emotional burden that clings to it. It's about allowing the past to rest where it belongs, as a chapter in your journey, a chapter that helped shape who you are today. By letting go, you create space for new beginnings, healthier relationships, and a deeper, more authentic connection with yourself. You're no longer defined by the pain, you are defined by your ability to rise above it, to learn from it, and to grow stronger because of it. It's not about ignoring your past, but about choosing how you want to remember it. You have the power to decide the place that experience will have in your life. This is your moment of transformation, your opportunity to rewrite your story, one where pain no longer defines you, but instead serves as the foundation for something much greater. Your new chapter is waiting. Are you ready to write it? As we reach the end of this journey, I want to take a moment to reflect with you. What have you learned from everything we've discussed today? How do you see your past differently now? What parts of your story are you ready to rewrite? And what new perspectives are you bringing into your life? I invite you to share one thing you've learned today and one action you plan to take as you move forward in the comments below. Let's hold each other accountable and encourage one another to practice the transformation we've discussed. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. By subscribing, you'll stay connected to more content like this that supports your growth and healing journey. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where we continue to explore how to live with greater awareness, strength, and peace.